Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Hello, everybody. It's me again, WT, with the Gamer Galaxies crew. I'm live from Australia right now. I made the hard decision yesterday to, at the last minute, pack my bags, jump on a plane, fly over there, get into the Australia atmosphere, specifically Sydney, so that I could download GoG and play test it. I'm going to have to hook up with Rubik soon since he's in that area, I believe, also, or he's at least near there. And yeah, I took this guy, Undead. He was on X saying that he was doing it. So I was like, I'm in solidarity with you, brother, and I'm going to do it. Head over there so I can play test. And yes, live from Australia. Wink, wink. Like I said, I'm from Gamers Galaxy. You can catch us on X, obviously, YouTube, Spotify, RSS. If you don't want to watch and you want to listen, we are on those platforms as well. Our Discord is open now. We have all kinds of tournaments going on, giveaways, some alpha, and not just garbage or common alpha. We have the sneaky alpha, sneaky with an S at the beginning, Y at the end. It is some of the best around. Rubik has the ability just to get inside and get that alpha. And I even got a little bit recently, and courtesy of Mr. X, if you're in our Discord, you know what I'm talking about. If you're not in my Discord or our Discord, you need to get in there so you can get that sneaky alpha from us. And yeah, we got the Gamers Galaxy crew with us. Looking to see if Wandering Gale's going to show up. Maybe he will, maybe he won't. But we got Rubik and Desus. And if you didn't know, it takes 100 Rubik duplicates to go to full enlightenment, 100 duplicate Desuses to go to full enlightenment, and 100 Wandering Gale duplicates to go to full enlightenment. And it's like, it's even beyond legendary. It's probably mythic at this point. And yeah, that's who they are. They are the panel. They've got the best comments, the best questions, the best responses to things. And Rubik, how are you doing tonight, brother?
I'm good, thank you. Just trying to manage a number of things at once at the moment, but yeah, I'll be ready to go full force very shortly. Also, like, just got a quick baby crying in the background, work calling me, and another colleague calling me on the over the internet. So and this space. So I'm just doing four things at once. It's all good, but I'm looking forward to this one. Thanks for organising it again, WT.
Yeah, not a problem. Like I said, mythic status, and then you can see he is juggling all kinds of things right there. So I will. I'm gonna try and give him a little bit of time to get his stuff sorted out, and we will pivot over to Desus. How are you doing tonight, my mythic friend?
Good, good. Just ready to get the spaces underway. Excited to talk about Guild of Guardians, what they got brewing, and their most recent town hall.
Absolutely. If you guys didn't notice, up in the crow's nest, I set that up for once. Usually, Desus is doing that for me. So I've evolved, I've upgraded, I've leveled up, and that is the legendary Tonin. Or no, he's mythic too. Mythic Tonin is up there with his content. There's a quick TLDR if you want the highlights from the town hall, and there's also his YouTube recording of the town hall itself. Both of them are up there if you haven't checked them out. Definitely go check them out to get the exact info. Both of them are very, very good stuff. If you go to his YouTube page, make sure you give him a like, give him a comment, put a heart in there, put an armpit comment, put WT is ugly in the comments, whatever. Help his Elgo for the work that he does for you. It'll help him out a lot to get the word out about what is going on. And yeah, that's up in the crow's nest if you need that. And what this is tonight for Guild of Guardians is it's a space to let the community talk about what happened last week in the town hall. And I just want to, I got to get on my soapbox here just for a minute and say what this is and what this won't be. So it was a little bit of controversy last week. So myself and the Gamer Galaxy team, we're going to briefly go through the highlights of what happened. And then after the highlights, we're going to hit the hot topic of the town hall, which was the duplicate numbers that are to be used for enlightenment of the founder NFTs. And it was a little bit of controversy, obviously. If you were there, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, check out Tonin's video, and you'll see what I'm talking about, or you'll hear and see. What this won't be. We're not here to discuss the reaction of the community or Chris Clay regarding enlightenment. This space is to be constructive and provide some positive feedback to the GOG team and Chris Clay. At any point, if anyone comes up here and becomes extremely negative on the Guild of Guardians project or the team, you're gonna have force us to give you the boot off the stage. This is not a cushy safe zone. We encourage opposite opinions, but just do it in a respectful manner. The goal is to help the project with good constructive feedback. And we're all adults here. If you've been in the project at all for a long time, you know it's had its ups and downs. But let's just keep it civil. That's all I ask. As long as it's civil, you can come up here and say your piece, and we'll discuss it. Um, it's it's not to tear down what has happened in the last year. It's to talk about the amazing progress that Chris Clay has done since he's taken over and how to make it better, hopefully. And, as frank as I could be, this is our Gamer Galaxy space. These are our terms and conditions. Respect them, or we have to, give you the boot. And we don't want to do that. So please be adults. Real quick, my take on Chris. The guy is super passionate about the project. He walked into a crap storm, and his goal is to make the game survive while trying to keep intact some of the promises from the past regime. But if the game doesn't survive, the promises don't even matter. So he has to do what he has to do for survival, and this is just my opinion. I'm not going to beat it into submission here. And there's a lot of things that have popped up on Chris that he wasn't even aware of. If you listen to the town hall, it was funny because there was a bit in it where the NRG hero has a side NFT that was given out for him, and Chris wasn't even aware of it at the time. And it's not that he's not paying attention to the project. There's just so many promises out there that he can't keep up with them all. It was overpromised and underdelivered, unfortunately. So his main directive is make sure the game survives, and all the other stuff he'll have to address later. And that's what he's dealing with. And so he's under a bunch of stress to keep the game alive, but try to keep some of the core promises. And that's all I'm going to say about it in my defense of him. So with that being said, we're going to move on to the highlights. Just to let you know, we do have some immutable prizes going out for the best question or best comment tonight, depending on how the Gamers Galaxy panel decides that. And then we also do a random draw from the crowd. I believe it's 10 immutable token for each of those for a total of 22 different winners. And we will get to that later. And we will be also taking questions later after the highlights. And I talked to the panel about their thoughts on the town hall. So with that said, let's get into the first topic tonight. Let's see here. Global launch. This is one that really hit my ear. Chris Clay is extremely confident by Q2. That is the first time I've heard anybody in this organization since the beginning say we are confident about this happening. Q2 is the launch. DeSeuss, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, they've mentioned it, several times that they're aiming for a Q2. Like you said, it's the first time we've had the team really express their confidence in that projection. Um, with this latest announcement of the expanded localization playtests with Australia and Indonesia being added, it sounds like they're really doing, their due diligence to collect the metrics that they need to. Um, it's exciting that they're expanding it, bringing the player base up, and pushing closer to that eventual release. Um, I'm really hoping that it's going to be, Q2 technically starts at the end of this month. So hopefully by the end of April, early May, mid May, we'll see more information on that, and get ready for the global launch, because um, I've been waiting to play this for a while now, and I'm just super excited for it.
Another thing that Chris brought up about this Q2 launch, he had a little bit of swagger about himself. He was talking about he was looking at other projects and other games compared to them, and they felt with the market conditions and the quality of the products were out there. This is the first time I've heard anybody say it. They felt now was the time to strike while the iron was hot. Did you pick up on any of that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and he's not wrong. There's a lot of games that are coming out or are out, um, where quality is lacking for sure. A lot of the games are very low quality or mindless, or just kind of copycat, cookie cutter type games. And this is one of the ones that definitely brings that level of excitement to the Web3 space, Web3 gaming space. It has its own lore, it has its own backstory and characters that are like well developed, and um, the potential for it is through the roof. And it being mobile is absolutely freaking huge as well.
Yeah, I just since I'm in Australia now, I've been actually able to play it, and it's got some of the same feel as the previous test, but there's definitely a whole new UX improvement to it, and there's a lot more difficulty I see from playing it just recently being in Australia. Rubik, give me a thumbs down if you can't talk. If you can, just pop on up. Okay, you can. Rubik, your thoughts on this?
Can you ask the question again? Sorry.
So we're talking about the Q2 launch is definitely coming. He's very confident about it. Chris Clay had a swagger about it, saying that basically he's looking at all the games out there and the quality versus the GOG quality, and he feels like the iron is hot to strike right now, and that they need to go now. And we were just talking about that.
I don't know. Time will tell. I started playing it. I'm obviously I'm invested in it very heavily, so I feel compelled to play the game, and it plays really well. It's fun, but for me, to be honest with you, it's like I've the hook. I just haven't really felt that hook on it yet. Just to be brutally honest, I'm sure that there's lots more to come, and when you get to upgrade it to, it's, with the guilds and all that kind of stuff that comes, it's going to change that. But like, just I think that what I'm missing for it is that feeling of heroes being clearly upgraded. You know what I mean? Like that payoff moment. I don't know. I'm still. I've only done it for a couple of days, a couple of hours, so I'm just waiting. I'm giving it, like before I have a full judgment on it. But ultimately, in terms of the timing, the gaming's always stacked and busy. It doesn't matter when you land your games, especially games that you download in the App Store. Like, there's no need. People will play this game that don't know anything about Web3, and you want them to convert over to Web3 eventually. But it doesn't matter when you launch. You're launching versus 10,000 mobile games released every month. 10,000 every single month. You are always in a highly competitive environment, so it doesn't matter when you land.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Real quick, correct me
But
if I'm wrong, Rubik. They do not have the NFT character integration yet in this
Yeah,
test yet.
they don't. That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not feeling that hook because I'm
Right.
hooked to the ownership side of things, and that's what I worry that the Web2 people will potentially go. This where's the hook for them? I'm sure they're going to add more content and more stuff before it releases, like especially the guild side of things. That's where I believe the hook will come. People feeling part of the community, the raids, all that kind of stuff. That's where. But if this game was just what's out now, I probably wouldn't play it long term. To be honest with you, like just what's come out now. But we know it's just one little aspect of the game, so that's why I've been said with that with the premise. I'm going to give it a lot more time and obviously wait for the release to come. But personally, if this was just what came out, I think people play for a week or two and then they go, that's it. So
yeah, I agree, and I think as a part of the town hall, he did mention that shortly after the expanded play test, they are going to do NFT integration as well as part of the expanded play test. So looks like you will actually get an early look into that integration as well.
yeah, I hope so. Didn't know that.
Yeah, for sure. He did mention that the Web3 NFT integration was held off so that they could focus on the Web2 to get that in, and they're using that basically as like a blueprint playtest. So before they go live on the ZK EVM and bring in the Web3 NFTs on how to tweak them to get that balance in. He did talk about that briefly in the town hall. So
yeah,
it's coming for sure.
And now that the migration is complete, right? So anyone that connected their MetaMask wallet to their passport prior to the migration, they have now they have all of their NFT characters and pets and things like that in their passport wallet, which is awesome. Anyone that didn't, they were just minted to the address that was holding them. Obviously the benefits of having everything in your passport is the gas free aspect of being able to trade and things like that, and as well as immediately being able to use your characters as soon as launch comes, right? Because the login process for the game is using the passport. So anyone that holds their characters in a MetaMask currently will have to transfer them over to a passport to be able to use them in game, which at this point you cannot do gas free because you're sending it from a MetaMask wallet, which requires you to do so with gas, which is kind of a bummer. But that's awesome that the migration's done. Also, the token migration is also done. I believe the window, they still have the tool available for you to use. He also did mention that people that didn't have many tokens available and didn't really have anything on ETH Layer 1 to do the migration process, that they were working on a solution as well for that.
Can I ask, but you're saying from ZK EVM MetaMask to ZK EVM Passport is going to be a gas charge, and that's what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly. So if you're sending anything, any sort of transaction in a MetaMask wallet will cost gas.
Yeah, but it's also on ZK EVM, so it really should, with blobs that just went live, it should be like less than a cent to send one. So it's not a big deal. Should be.
Yeah, that's correct. And I don't know for sure if Immutable actually implemented blobs yet, though. So
Yeah, I asked that question, haven't had an answer. Come back
yeah,
to you
I
shortly.
honestly I don't think they have implemented blobs yet. So, but still, I did do some transactions on my MetaMask already, and honestly, the fees are negligible already. So, I mean, you're talking probably close to 6 cents.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I'm seeing the
Yeah.
same thing. Seeing the same thing.
The end of layer one, alt layer ones was yesterday. People didn't realize. It's just a matter of them realizing it over time now.
Awesome. Good information, guys. Thank you very much for that. Moving along, energy tweaking is going to be ongoing. Like we've kind of known about this. Chris has talked about this, and from what he said in the town hall, it seems to me it's not set in stone, auto dungeoning is going to be the way that happens when you finish the third tier, or some is calling it the third star of a dungeon. It's going to flip to auto dungeon potentially, to where maybe you don't get the max rewards, but you get some of the rewards. If you got energy to spend, but you don't have the quality of life to do it at that time, you just can quick click it and it auto dungeons. Thoughts on that? Whoever wants to take the mic first.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's awesome. It allows for farming of materials and things like that you need um, for crafting and stuff like that. And again, it's a way for people to participate that have already completed certain areas or aspects of the game that again still need some of the materials and also want to be able to participate in the game.
Rubik? He may be busy.
Sorry, what was up?
I know you're busy. So, yeah, I'll try not to hit you up too much. They're talking about auto dungeons, and it sounds like they're leaning towards auto dungeons. Once you complete the third tier of the dungeon schematic, aka the third star, you'll be able to auto dungeon it. It sounds like there might be less rewards if you do it that way, but you'll still get some and be able to maximize using your energy instead of letting it sit in there and not be used.
Yeah, it's Chris Clay knows what audience they're going for here in this game, and everyone that sits there and goes, "This isn't what I want," probably is looking at it from purely their own perspective of what they want from a gaming experience. But there's so many people that just play games for the gamification side of things, and they don't care about what they actually do to get their badges and their leadership boards and stuff. There's like gamification is like, it's like exponential. The human brain doesn't understand it when you just explain it to them, but it's like an adrenaline hit. And so I assume that's to feed that adrenaline hit of the gamification side of things, and people just pushing that button and seeing their badges numbers, their leaderboard number go up. They like, look at Clash of Clans, 225 million players, and I play the games for the strategy side of it. And there would be people come into our clan and talk about these trophy things that are absolutely pointless in the game, like pointless to me. But if that and that, but that was the major draw card of Clash of Clans. People wanted to raise their trophies, and it was the stupidest thing ever. But to me, but they got 225 million players concurrently, so I don't know shit, man. What's going to happen? So when I made that comment earlier, that again was purely from my perspective of what I want from gaming, not from my expectations of how the game would perform. I trust Chris. Whatever he's, and I'm willing just to go. Whatever you decide, mate. You've done it with Magic the Gathering. You've done it with Gods Unchained. You've done it with another game as well. I can't remember. I'm pretty certain he's not going to fail in this game. And if people think they know more than someone that's got 25 years experience developing games and being the lead of a designing games, well, they're idiots. So in the auto battler isn't like the auto playing the dungeon isn't going to appeal to me, but I know there's going to be a lot of people that actually love that feature, and I think it's really smart.
Yeah, I'll be one of those for sure. I'm a huge fan of quality of life because I just got so much stuff going on. And it just, like you said, you're bringing up the Chris Clay resume. Like, I can't believe how many people, I mean, I know it's a small minority, but I can't believe how many people are so harsh on him at times, considering what he's done with so many different games. It just blows my mind, but I'm not gonna beat that dead horse too much. One of the things that came up in this town hall that kind of got overshadowed by the controversy, I thought this was huge, absolutely huge. Chromas are going to have an altar utility in some way, some form, with recipes and the RNG factor of it. For the longest time, it's gone back and forth about chromas. First, it was like they're just going to be cosmetic and that's it. Then it was like, no, they're going to have a stat increase. Then it was like, no, we can't do that. And it's been back and forth, back and forth. But now it's getting more concrete. There's going to be some utility form. It sounds like it's going to be, you're going to have a higher chance at getting better recipes somehow, some way, with chromas, and that gets me excited because there's only so many of those. And then Chris left the door open also that potentially there is in his brain to take normal heroes that you are in love with and convert them into chromas. Two big things to unpack there. I'll start with the Seuss. Thoughts on this chroma, just absolute bombshell of utility that's coming with them.
Yeah, I mean, with Chris's ability to kind of game craft and build games and stuff like that, he understands the necessity to bring that value to certain characters and certain items. I know that, like, for instance, like, um, I in his days at Magic the Gathering Arena, there was really like no reason to keep commons, right? And then they came out and they introduced Pauper, right, where you had to use the common cards, and it's it's a long-standing game that, like, even like friends of mine and stuff like that, we played that version of the game just to keep things kind of spicy, right? But um it's something like that that brings a new twist to the game, and it brings a new kind of way to theory craft and build off of, and it's it's cool, it's exciting, and it makes it so that you're not you're not just seeing a character and being like, oh, this is, fodder, like, I don't even need this, I'm gonna burn it immediately or whatever. And it brings value to those characters, to that aspect of gameplay and things like that. So I mean, it's really big.
Rubik, are you around to give the comment on that?
Are you talking about? Sorry, ask the question again. Sorry.
So chromas are
I
getting
don't know enough of that.
utility in the form of some form of RNG with recipes,
Oh,
and
nice. That's good.
and they're also he's not saying for sure, but he's also leaving the door open to where normal NFTs could possibly become chromas.
Okay. Yeah. I was just thinking about it. That's why I didn't hear your question. I actually am focusing, but I was thinking about what I want to say about, like, what I think might be a good miss, what that might be missing. And that's like in the dungeons when you're going through, like, you know what to expect the next room is going to be. And like, I'd like there to be a chance that there's a awesome dungeon room that appears that's like 1 in 100 chance of hitting it, and that could be something like a chance to win the chroma as well. Like, so you get a 1 in 100 chance of this dungeon appearing and a 1 in 100 chance of dropping a chroma skin or something like that. So it's like a 1 in 1,000 or 1 in 10,000 chance of winning, something really exciting and different. And I think that's one thing that I felt with the initial play for me has been missing. That I haven't felt that payoff moment of the randomness that could be brought in. So yeah, if they I think Chrome is not just being a skin. I thought that was a mistake at the start. So yeah, if they're bringing things in to make them special, that'd be awesome.
Dude, it would be like in Diablo, like cow level, like, that would be like super awesome.
Cow level. That's what we need, Chris. If you're listening, we need cow level.
We need more cow. Yeah, right.
The
Cowbell?
level fly. Okay.
Cowbell reference? Anybody? No, I'm just okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So awesome. Yeah, the RNG factor in games is probably one of the most exciting things that can happen. And I know Chris knows that. And if he can incorporate that, oh man, that's gonna be absolutely awesome. I'm just gonna
So I
go
want to
ahead.
I want to get into the leveling stuff, because I got to leave in about 10 minutes. I apologize. I have to do some daddy duty stuff. So
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, we have some other stuff we could have talked about, but that's fine. I was actually looking at the time and was going to shift over to that anyway. So I want to talk to you guys before we open up to the floor for other people to comment. I want to hear your guys' take on the pros and cons on having less founder heroes due to the dupe burn controversy that was brought up. If you guys haven't heard about it, if you have a founder hero for legendaries, just legendaries, you have to have the legendary and then 7 additional duplicates of that legendary to get it to a full
8.
enlightenment.
You would need 8, because it's 9 in total.
Oh, I thought it was 1 and then 7, so it's 1 and 8. You're saying,
Yes.
I
man?
thought that they start at higher level, the founders.
Yes, 3 stars, 3 stars, and 3 radiants, I believe.
Yes. So they start at 3 stars already. But again, to get to max level, you would need a total of 9 of the legendaries.
Well, it's going to reduce the value of the existing ones that don't get leveled up, in my opinion. But it'll obviously in the long run, the people that do make the effort and spend the money to get them to the max level could have a little like obviously 8 times less more rare, and then they'll probably hardly be there won't be like the full amount at the max level. So yeah, it'd be interesting. Like it'd probably only be like what 20 or 30 that make it to the max level, maybe even less, maybe a couple more, give or take. So they become people that do that. I think they'll become more valuable. But if the game, it's all about how many people start playing the game. If it becomes a multi-million person player game, then the value of them go up heaps. And if it doesn't, then they don't. In my opinion, what do you reckon?
Yeah, absolutely. I 100% agree with that. The non enlightened versions clearly become less valuable, and the grind to acquire enough of the legendaries becomes that much harder, right? Because you have some people that initially purchased them at a higher value, not knowing this information, and may not be willing to say sell them on secondary for a certain for less, right? So the ability to then enlighten or level your character becomes squandered by people that are not willing to get rid of it for a lesser price, right? And the people that do eventually purchase those ones are people that I guess it could be looked at in two different ways, but that really see the value in doing so, and don't necessarily have a limit to what they're spending on their characters to begin with, right? And and that it's interesting because there's still ways to go about it to acquire, like, say, the tokens to be able to get a character. I was just thinking about it the other day. Is they are still doing active staking as well. So as long as you hold GOG tokens and you do participate in trading, um, they're still airdropping tokens to people, and that's a way to be able to earn tokens for characters um, that you're looking to level up.
I wasn't aware that they were still do staking on that. That's news to me, but yeah, I'll definitely look into that. Um, this, in my opinion, it creates a massive bottleneck as is if they keep with that current current paradigm of duplicates for getting enlightened. And part of me says creating a bottleneck like this, I can see the gamer side of it of, wow, potentially there's only going to be, if everybody enlightened according to math, I think the number they threw out there would be like 150-ish legendaries left over from the founders. But then I'm looking at it long term from what they said in the town hall that the Web 2 can enlighten to be just as good, if not better, than the founders down the road. So they're going to, in my opinion, eventually incorporate the gotcha game style that I didn't think they were going to do at the very beginning of this 3 years ago. But from a business sense, I understand that they have to make money. So it makes sense that they would go to the gotcha style. And down the road, after they take care of the founders via two options, you can either enjoy the initial boost gameplay and be the king for a while, or you can enjoy the bottleneck and the increased demand potentially due to lack of supply and sell off and get your money back or make profits, not financial advice. So there's a lot of dynamics going on here, but like ultimately, Chris is trying to keep the game alive and fulfill the promises of the past at the same time, and he's in a rock and a hard place. So I'm very mixed about this, about which is the best way, but I think he possibly is on the right path to do it. Do you see any holes in my analysis here at all, guys?
No, and again, the team and Chris included, they're incredibly smart people. They're going to take the time to figure out what is needed. I think that there's clearly some viable solutions to it. There were suggestions of using the GoG token along with shards to be able to level characters, which I think is a great idea. It creates, a burn in the token, as well as getting rid of some of those consumables in game, right? And that's more time that people have to play the game in order to accumulate those shards to do the enlightening process, right? And I think that's a win-win for the team and everything like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Rubik, would you like to weigh in on this?
You're talking about the pay to win, gotcha sort of things?
Not necessarily that. Just the process of what Chris is setting up to placate to the founders, to either give them the option to be the king for a while initially with their assets, or to sell
Yeah,
them
okay.
off and get their money back or make some profits. Not financial advice, due to the bottleneck and how that all plays out long term, because he did talk about the Web 2 would match or be more would be better than the founders down the road in the town hall.
Yeah, it does. They've got to keep on bringing out new things. These type of games need to bring out new ways of getting people to spend money. Just they cost a lot of money to make, and people don't make games to for the love of it. Not many do anyway. They make it to make money, and so there's no way to avoid it other than making. I don't like level caps on anything. I think they should just have it unlimited and continually grow, and it takes longer and longer to level up your hero as it gets further, and so therefore the time consumption needed to go up a level becomes weeks, then months, sort of thing. And then they bring out a patch that makes it quicker to level up, but they also that patch comes with new content. Making these artificial caps on levels, I've always been in any game, even MMOs. I've thought, why would you not just design a better system that I don't feel that I've hit the cap ever, that I've always got that carrot. So, but so if they've decided to go this way, which most games do anyway, then they have to bring out new things that people want to spend money on and play and have them reason to play it. So there's just no other way around it. And as for the gacha, like Asia don't care, mate. You guys are all from America. Every time I hear Americans speak about pay to win, oh, pay to win, it doesn't matter, mate. The audience they're going for is Asia, and the Asians love paying to win. So it's different cultures.
Yeah, that's a great point. Actually, that's a real good point. With Asia, they're very big into it. They'll even hire people to play the game for them if they're wealthy enough. Yeah, I'm not against it. I'm just trying to point out the obvious of what they're going for, and I get it. They got to make money. You got to keep money coming in to keep the business going. If the business isn't going, we're not even having this discussion right now. So anybody out in the audience, we brought up the topic of the duplicates. If you would like to come up and talk about it in a respectful manner, we're all adults here. Feel free to raise your hand. We'll bring you up a stage and we'll discuss it with you. So there is some immutable on the line. 10 immutable for the best question, best comment tonight. DeSeuss, any? I know you got to go here soon. Any final thoughts before you head out?
Well, like I said before, the team is more than capable of figuring out any sort of issues and stuff like that, making everyone whole. I'm sure that in the near future we're going to have some more updates. And the next town hall they'll have answers for stuff, and it'll be great. Again, I'm just looking forward to being able to play the game and and enjoy being part of it. So a lot to be excited about. But on
Are
that,
you
I
in
gotta get
Australia at the
going, and I
moment?
appreciate y'all.
Are you in Australia to Suze at the moment? You still here?
No,
Oh, okay. Oh, you're a VPN. Got it. Sweet. Bit
all
slow
right.
than pardon. Have a good one,
Hey,
mate.
yeah, I'm in Australia. Absolutely. We got a couple speakers coming up. We'll start with Mr. Tom. You're up here. What is your question and or comment for the spaces tonight?
I didn't say it wasn't wrong to have an opinion, mate. Yeah, I said to you, I think some of your opinions could be valid. I'm saying that the way that in your mind, that the way you've made up your mind that you're right and that this needs to change is the wrong way to approach it. It's like the way to approach it could be this is what my concerns are. Have you thought about this? And then let him have a response to say, yes, we have actually thought about that. I've been designing games for 25 years, and this is why we think that's your concerns aren't worried. Or he could say, you know what, we'll have to look at that because we didn't actually take that into consideration. But the way you're coming across is, I'm right. This is what I think, and it's going to happen. And it's not what the way that the energy is. That's already happened. It's already played out. We've seen that it's too much work, and then now we've made constructive criticism to the energy for the energy to change because it's way too much time. And so no one's saying that he can't make mistakes or not get it perfectly right. I'm talking about the way and the mindset of how it's been articulated before it's even in play. That's my opinion.
I didn't really I didn't really I didn't really take it as Rubik took it. Some of the points that you brought up I thought were really valid was like about lost wallets or lost interest. How many of those are out there? We can't even gauge what that number is. That's going to affect the supply of duplicates in this process. So like they're talking about if everybody duplicated out, there's going to be 150ish legendaries left over that are maxed out. That's probably not even going to be realistic because of that fact that you brought up there, and we can't quantify of what that will be and how that will affect the economy. So yeah, there's lots of experience all around, but experience matters, but it doesn't mean you have a crystal ball and you know exactly how everything's going to go all the time. So I try to balance out both sides and put myself in both shoes of both sides of this is going to work and this is not going to work, and try to come in between the middle of it and see where's that middle line between both sides of what is the best solution. And I don't know, unfortunately for Chris, in my opinion, his decisions are being compromised kind of because he can't go into full game development mode of what he's used to doing because of past promises, and it's handcuffing him, and that's why he's so frustrated, in my opinion, is because he knows what to do, but because of past promises, he's trying to swim with a rock attached to his neck. And so, well, I definitely understand what Rubik's saying, but I also understand what Mr. Tom is saying on both sides of it. It's just going to be interesting to see how it plays out because we don't
Fence sitter.
know.
WT's a fence sitter.
Well, yeah, I am because I try to see both sides of it because it's never in my experience in life, 9 times out of 10, it's not usually one exact way. It's usually in the middle somewhere.
So,
So
like, we know there's more. Like, when we interviewed Chris Clay, we know there's more game modes coming. As long as they're
yeah,
successful, like, so maybe this game that our founders' heroes completely suck, but they bring out an MMO RPG, and you don't need to have a leveled up one, and it becomes the best character in that MMO RPG. He said that in our interview with him. I want to make an MMO RPG out of Guild of Guardians. So, like, it's not the end
no,
all.
no, no, no. He didn't say he actually said he can't believe he's uttering these words because he did not want to be involved in an MMORPG again. But he said that he could potentially see it. that was his
But my point,
caveat to it.
that's dilly dally. Like the point is, there's other game modes coming, and there'll be other utilities for these heroes in the future as well. So, like, I agree with Tom that from what knowledge we've got, and this game mode is probably not ideal, and that's not what my point was. Like, my point was to maybe look at this from an overall bigger picture and understand that we don't know everything, and therefore we can't really say you got this wrong. And that's my point, which no one's addressed. Like, you're thinking that I'm arguing with Tom about his points. I actually agree with them, but just arguing that we don't actually understand exactly everything that's coming and how it's going to all play out to be able to make that statement like we can with energy. Because energy, we've seen it and it doesn't work, and we made that statement, but they worked that out themselves. But we just reiterate it for them. But that's not. I don't know. It wasn't meant to be an aggressive thing or a. I like to disagree. I don't sit here and go, yeah, mate, that's cruel. Like, if I don't agree with something, I'd say it. And you know that. So and it doesn't mean I dislike you as a person any differently because I do disagree. It's just this world doesn't like to disagree with each other anymore. They like echo chambers, and I don't. I like to tell people when I think they're wrong, and they can tell me the same, and I'll go, sweet.
Absolutely, yeah, for sure. We got another speaker up here. Boo. Oh boy. Boo Dee Doodle. I gave you the mic. What's your question and or comment? Okay. Rubik, were you able to make any sense of that? Because I was not able to.
I don't know. I think Booty's keen on not keen on. He's I believe he lives in Asia, and he's not keen on the gacha games. Just because some Asians are. My comment was a little bit fliver. Like, it wasn't exactly thought out clearly. Like, when I say not Asians, I just mean like the traditional markets. They're more susceptible. They don't get told like Americans get. Oh, that's pay to win. I'm not even gonna. If they get told it's pay to win, they won't even look at it. Where Asians are more open to playing a game that's, their culture is more open to giving it a go, and then if they like it, they'll pay. And not everyone still does. So yeah, sorry about that. I didn't mean to categorize human race all into two different categories. It was more about just the culture of pay to win and the thought of it in general in people's minds. So yeah, but but I think this game has to have pay to win. There's just no way it can be any other way. Like, you show me another game like it that doesn't have pay to win. There's a reason for that. So
Well, yeah, for sure. And they've definitely shifted into that they have to make revenue to keep it afloat, which I totally get. I'm not against it. You have to be able to pay for the lights, or it's just not going to work. That's just the way it goes. If anybody else wants to comment on the duplicate process, feel free to raise your hand and come on up and speak. Otherwise, we'll be wrapping up here shortly. We've only had 2 speakers so far, so that immutable prize is still out there for the best comment or best question. Some other things that happen while we're seeing if anybody else wants to come up. Well, we got somebody here. Let me give him. All right. Faceless, I gave you permission to speak. What's your question and or comment?
wasn't that changed though? It's been rogue. Yeah, I thought that's not going to be a thing anymore. Like, some of the things that part of the problem is that Chris has inherited promises from other founders, and then he's had to remove some things that they were promised because of that. So those special leaderboards, I don't think they're part of it anymore. Yeah, that's cool. But just to be clarified, mate, I've just had a private chat with Tom. I kind of agree with his points. It's not my point. Like, it's what, and that's WT. Now you have also like made it out like I disagree with his points. I disagree with the way it's been presented. Like, I know I'm right, and it's not done in a question, and that's been happening across this GoG team since I've been involved in it, where people, armchair experts, coming in saying, "I know this is right and you're wrong," rather than having a conversation like humans used to in the past. Like, "Hey, have you thought about this issue?" Sort of thing. Yeah, and I think the problem with mobile games is, like, the app stores don't allow tokens in game. So they're really hamstrung from what they can do. So maybe the decision to not use these tokens to do things in the game is to remove, like for most of the things, is to remove the friction from, bringing in. Their goal is to bring billions of gamers in, and they're not going to come in to to a complexity thing of having to go to the back end onto a website and do things to play the game. So that's another problem that they've had to think about designing, and probably why they've made this decision to do duplications of the founders, because it's something that the founders can do because they're obviously already in crypto, and they're not having to worry about them leaving the game to do things, because they all know how to do it and be happy to do it. So there's that sort of a design. When it comes to design, it's a whole encompassing thing. It's not this one little bit and then this one little bit. It's all got to tie in together, and that's what my point is. We don't know why these decisions have been made because we don't know the full design of the game yet. And so, but I do agree that it doesn't sound like, especially for the legendaries. I think it's more of a problem for legendaries than for that's 240,000 rares. So like that's not rare, So I have got no problem with rares having to be merged, but I think the legendaries maybe just having to migrate 2 or 3 and then have some other quest in the game to get legendaries to level up would be a better design. I kind of agree with you on that, but we'll see. We'll see how it turns out. What are your thoughts on those comments?
Just to give you guys a heads up, yeah, I'm getting multiple messages from multiple people that the Spaces is bugged. So I can't tell who is able to talk now. People are telling me they want to say something, so I sent out some invites to speak. I sent it out to Toadman Sam and Sanjira. If you guys want to comment on this, feel free to do so.
Can you hear me? I think Spaces is a little buggy because I can't hear anybody but WT or Rubik.
Yeah, Sanjiro, yeah, go ahead.
You
Thank you,
can hear me.
Faceless. Thank you for your contribution, Faceless.
Yeah, unfortunately, I couldn't hear anything, and I think a couple of us had the same problem. I couldn't hear anything, any of the comments or questions from the gallery, basically. So I'm at a loss for commenting on that. I do want to point out that I think if I'm getting the gist from some of the from some of the responses from the two hosts, that I do believe that there's a lot of armchair quarterbacking going on. I think a lot of us are probably guilty of that, and we all probably need to sit back a little bit and just see what happens. But I do also believe that there's many ways to go about things where you don't have to totally devalue something, like along the lines of what Rubik was saying and has been reiterated several times. What if it takes months or years to level that guy up through, or that guardian up through gameplay? I feel like that could be, an avenue that takes care of the shrimp and the fish, as opposed to the whales who want to degen and try and buy up the characters and level them up that way. I just believe there kind of should be multiple ways to get to to get to the highest point. If you tell me I have a cap on something, there's a level of disinterest that you've now planted inside of me if I can only get to a certain point, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I totally understand that, for sure. Yeah, I don't know what is going on. I'm getting multiple messages about people can't hear and stuff, and I apologize, everybody. Nothing's changed how we do this, so something must be going on the X side of it. Rubik, you have any comments on what Sanjiro just said there? If you could hear him.
Agree, 100%. He was on the right track. So we can just be armchair quarterbacks, but just maybe realize that maybe we're not right because we just don't know everything. That's the only point I want to make. So, and kind of like said that. So yeah, but we've been harping on this point. Yeah, we'll just have to wait and see what's going to happen. We invested a lot of money, a lot of us in this chat right now, and so we also, I understand that people feel like they need to ensure that the right things are being done. They feel entitled, and I kind of like agree with that. You are entitled to your opinion because you've invested a lot of money, so but it's also, you got to understand that you're investing in something you don't know, like especially game
Right.
development. It takes a long time to build a game, and they all fail. A lot of them fail to even deliver the product. So if you're investing in something that's, before it's even out in gaming, or you're really up there with huge risk already.
Yeah, it's a total crapshoot. I mean, it's a total crapshoot. So listen, I guess the only two people who are going to hear my questions would be you guys, unless this is fully recorded and we all get to hear it. So I've got a question for WT. First, would you rather go around for the rest of your life having everybody think you smell, or thinking everybody else smells? And for Rubik, while WT ponders that, would you rather have fingers for toes or toes for fingers?
Fingers for toes.
So how would you play GoG?
With my feet.
Touche.
You're asking, ask me again what you asked me. I'm sorry.
Would you rather go around for the rest of your life thinking that everyone around you smells, like has body odor or breath odor, or that they think you smell?
I would rather go around thinking other people smelled.
I wish you
Yeah.
asked me that question.
All right.
I wish you asked me that question.
There's no right or wrong answer. So you know.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to offend people with my stench. So for their sake, I would rather them smell and I have to deal with their stench versus them deal with my stench. So
You are a true man of the people. I'm just going to say that.
Sandra, I'm the opposite, mate. I'd rather everyone else have to put up with my pong, and they already do, mate. So I already live in that world.
those are great questions. I like those. That was great questions. So yeah, some people are telling me that they can hear you, Sanjiro. And yes, this is recorded. I just got a comment. Someone just sent me a message. Everybody already does smell, which is technically true. So yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. So I don't see anybody else that wants to come up. I'll give it a few more seconds here. Rubik, if no one else comes up, any final thoughts with this space tonight?
Yeah, I've got to head off. So yeah, I hope people don't feel that our disagreeing is a negative thing. It's a positive thing in my mind. Good, healthy combative conversation is I really enjoy it. I've had a chat with Tom offline, and we're cool. So don't worry, guys. If you're stressed out, we're not. So, but yeah, I just trust Chris what he's going to build. I am willing to not think too heavily about what the design decisions and personally, but I do understand people have invested a lot of money and feel entitled, and they probably are a little bit entitled, but just to think about, maybe you don't know everything, in to make your statement in these are my concerns rather than this is what's going to go wrong, in that style. And then if you do that, it's like getting more flies with honey than vinegar. And let's just see what happens. I'm playing it now. It's fun, but it's not the hook yet. I'm waiting for giving it a couple more weeks to see if when I start to understand everything in the game, to understand when I do get a RNG win, which I'm not actually understanding yet. So my concern is that I should be feeling that from the start to get these people to stay. But there's also heaps more to the game coming, so I'm not worried.
Yeah, I agree with a lot what you said there. I did not take anything as hostile tonight. That was the goal, was to get us together and even have opposite opinions on things. And yeah, I mean, maybe I'm a fence sitter, maybe I'm not, but there is some things that I see from both sides, and that's always been my life mantra, is try to see other people's side of it, whether I agree with them or not, just to try and understand and have a good consensus of what is going on in the grand scheme of things. Sometimes it works out for me, sometimes it does not. But what limited interactions I've had with Chris, he is a very passionate guy when it comes to games. Someone's mic is on. Solemnly swear. Did you want to say something?
Oh, you can go ahead and finish what you were saying.
Okay, can you mute your mic for a second?
Oh, sorry, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so Chris, from my perspective of what I've talked with him live and off record, he really wants to make this project work, and it's a passion of his. He walked into a crap storm and is trying to fix the damage, and it's not an easy task. And there's a whole other world of game development that most of us can't even begin to comprehend, that Rubik can kind of comprehend a lot better than I can, for sure. And we have to take that into account when we're asking him to do things, or petitioning him to do things. He can only do so much, and I really think he has our best interest in mind, and he's trying to placate both sides while keeping the game alive. And that was my main premise of this. So, solemnly swear, what did you have to say before we wrap this up here?
Hey, I appreciate it. No, for one, I want to say I appreciate the space that you guys bring to give the community a voice. And just to kind of reiterate what you're saying, I mean, Chris Clay has done some phenomenal things, and I couldn't even imagine the pressure that he's under, especially with this more than multi-million-dollar company. And I know that people have drawn some comparisons between him and the man not to be named, and complete opposite. I mean, yeah, I understand frustrations with everything going on. I mean, a lot of the stuff I was trading at the peak of the last bull run, so a lot of money, like everybody, was sunk into it. But like you were saying, I think that Chris has everybody's best interests, and not just Immutable, not just Guild of Guardian, but everybody. And he wants to build an ecosystem that is sustainable, one that revolutionizes. And that's why I have so much faith in Chris Clay and Guild of Guardians and Immutable. That's all I wanted to say.
Awesome. Great thoughts there. Yeah. Um, yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because I mean, think back a year ago where this project was. We went through the esports debacle. A lot of people were upset because promises were being broken back then. And then we had I don't know what you want to call it, but the game that we were supposed to get was not coming, and we were told about it. And a lot of us thought, including myself, I'm going to say at least me, maybe not a lot of us, at least me, this doesn't look good. This doesn't look good at all. What is going on? The stuff you told us is not happening. So there was a lot of broken promises. Chris comes along and had to face that brunt of things. A year later, we have a completely different game, which we didn't ask for, but it's definitely more sticky than the previous version. It's got to be. If you don't think this game is stickier than the last version, you're either ignorant of the whole entire picture of what's going on, or you're lying for your own personal agenda. And I'm just going to be frank about that. What was in the past of promised did not happen. And he's trying to rectify those sins from the past. It's not an easy job. So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt, because he's got something that's actually somewhat addictive. Yes, there needs to be a lot of improvements for sure. But the iron is hot, and they think the time is a strike right now, or in the near future. And they have a product that has people engaged, whereas before it wasn't. And he's trying to fulfill the past promises in addition to that. So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. He's got a lot of experience to get it done. And we're here every Thursday in the US here. If it's a different day for you, it's because you're somewhere else. We may be changing up our time to be more accommodating for more people. We're talking about that internally right now at Gamers Galaxie. We are on social media, X, aka Twitter, YouTube, Spotify, RSS, and several other audio platforms. Our Discord is open for anybody to come in right now. We have all kinds of alpha going on, all kinds of tournaments going on. Jump in, interact with us. We're doing this for Web3, but specifically the immutable space, because there's so much content to cover. They have 270 plus games right now, and it's a beast in itself to handle, and we're trying to dissect that information down for you guys. so that you do not have to do that. So jump into our Discord and join us as we dive into the immutable ecosystem and Web3. We got some like real deal hardcore people in our project that just they bring some valuable information for us, and it makes it easy for everybody. And we'll be back next week. I will get back to you guys on the time that we're going to do it. We might be pushing it back later in the night to accommodate more people. We will definitely let you know on X and our Discord. And I thank you all for tuning in. I will post who is the winner of the best question and comment and who is the random winner for the 10 IMX on 2 different people. Everybody take care. Bye-bye now.